Welcome back to How to Be a Better DM, the official podcast of Monsters.rent. I'm Justin Lewis.
And I'm Tanner Wayland.
And we are here to help you tell better stories for yourself and your players as you dungeon master sessions of D&D, Dungeons & Dragons. We'd like to give you some quick announcements. We actually have one before the show, and then after the show, if you want to stick around, we have some more announcements then as well. But first, let's talk about this. Tired of being alone? Are you tired of not having any of your players understand you? Are you tired of never truly belonging? Well, you're in luck. All you need to do is join the Guild. The Guild is a unique and exclusive experience that is only open to Dungeon Masters. It is a full community focused on helping ease your DMing burdens. Want to meet other DMs? Join the Guild. Want to discuss your homebrew ideas with people who would appreciate it instead of just telling your cat? Join the Guild. Want to find a place where all your wildest dreams will come true? Join the Guild. Go to monsters.rent/guild and sign up today for free. Wait, that can't be right. Chuck, can you check this again? Is this supposed to be... What? Oh, they're serious? It's free? Oh, okay. All right. Yes, go to monsters.rent/guild and sign up today for free, even though they are crazy for giving this away for free. Common side effects may include burping, sneezing, laughing, breathing, hearing, listening, tasting, farting, critting, sarcasm, and in extreme cases, explosive diarrhea. Awesome. With that out of the way, we can get into today's show. You and your companions finally crest the hill. Judir said it wouldn't be far, and it wasn't. He leads you all through a small copse of trees to an overlook with large stones in a circle. Olv, you stand there in the center of the ring. The rest of you sit down and witness, Judir says with a tone of finality. You give each of your party members a meaningful glance and then move slowly to the center of the ring as your friends all sit down on the ground outside the ring of stone. Judir walks up to you and pulls your pack off your back. He then beckons for you to remove your shirt. He takes it all out of the ring. He comes back and now has a small bowl in his hand. He dips his finger in the bowl and then begins moving the finger along your face, neck, and arms. He's painting something. You will be completely alone. Your friends won't be able to help you, and neither will I. Once you start the ritual, you have to finish it, or it will kill you. Now is your last chance to change your mind. After this, there's no going back. Judir turns his back to you without letting you answer. Instead, he moves a few feet away and places the bowl on the ground, and then uncorks a cask and pours a liquid into the bowl and then sprinkles some powder. He then walks to the outside of the circle, turns, folds his arms, and says, "Drink the liquid and say the words to begin." What would you like to do? Welcome back to the 25th episode of How to Be a Better DM. I'm your host, Justin Lewis, and I'm here to help you craft more compelling stories for yourselves and your friends as you DM a session of Dungeons & Dragons 5e. I hope you all had an amazing Christmas with you and your family. You know what? See, that's what it's all about. Family. I hope you and your family had an amazing Christmas and maybe even had some fun playing games like D&D. Next, I'd like to remind you to sign up for my monthly newsletter starting in January. You'll get access to behind-the-scenes content, access to homebrew items, game hooks, and one-shots, and even the ability to sign up to play a one-shot with me and some other cool cats. If you want to sign up to that awesome newsletter, sign up in the show notes. There's a link in the show notes. But a few weeks ago, we talked about who should and shouldn't play a rogue. Well, we're continuing our discussion today with who should and shouldn't play a barbarian. Specifically, who shouldn't play a barbarian. Aside from the wizard and the fighter, a barbarian might be the quintessential D&D class. When people think D&D, they think wizard, fighter, and barbarian. But not everyone is cut out to be a barbarian. Like I've said before, though, anyone can play any class, period. But each class offers a different experience. And if you're looking for the following experiences, then you won't want to play a barbarian. Number 1, if you want to avoid getting hit, barbarians have the ability to have a lot of damage types, resistant to a lot of damage types when they're raging. This means that they are ideal to be up front and center in most fights. Being a barbarian generally means you are the spearhead in most fights. So, if you are shy around getting hit by weapons, you might not want to play barbarian. Number 2, you enjoy complicated combat turns. In D&D, the only true limitation is your imagination. That said, unlike monks who can punch like 15 times a turn, or sorcerers who can cast like 15 spells, as a barbarian, you generally whack. When you get higher levels, you can whack, and later, even whack. Oh, and don't forget to rage. Yeah, that's generally how your turns will go. Rage, move, attack. Sometimes you'll do a strength check or stuff like that, but compared to other classes, a barbarian has a relatively simple action economy. Number 3, you want to be a ranged combatant. As a barbarian, you will naturally get a bonus to your strength. As well, because of rage, you get a bonus to your melee attacks. Put these two together, and choosing to fight with mostly ranged weapons is seriously foregoing a large part of your class. Number 4, being the absolute smartest. Unlike the more academic classes, your wizard or your bard, the barbarian is not well known for their powers of intellect. I'm not saying you can't have a tremendously intelligent barbarian, but I am saying in character creation we make choices, and these choices have trade-offs. As a barbarian, you will likely prioritize strength and other physical characteristics at the expense of intelligence or wisdom. So, get used to showing off your muscles and not necessarily your brains. Usually. Number 5, if you don't like being high energy. If you want to play a character that is generally calm and smooth and relaxed, then a barbarian might not be for you. One of the central pillars of a barbarian being the rage. So naturally, your character will often be enraged. That's right. This means that your character will probably have lots of energy and get angry at least part of the time. So being a calm and reserved character might not be the best choice. So there you have it. If you want these 5 experiences, avoid getting hit, enjoying complicated combat turns, wanting to be a ranged combatant, being the smartest person, or not being high energy, then don't be a barbarian. Now, one thing to remember is that these are the general principles of being a barbarian. It may be, however, really cool to buck the trope and instead do something opposite. For example, you might have a mild-mannered person who gets incredibly angry at moments when they get enraged. Or maybe you have a very high-energy character who, when they rage, they get very calm, serious, and deliberate. All of these could be fun ways to twist the trope, but you just got to make sure that it makes sense and make sure that you're having fun and that it's okay with your DM. Thank you for listening to today's show, and I really appreciate all the support that you've shown me. Don't forget, if you do want to play a one-shot with me as your DM, sign up for the newsletter in the show notes, and then sign up for the one-shot in January's newsletter. I know that's somewhat complicated, but hopefully you still get it. Next, if you have any other suggestions or comments about the show, send me a direct message on Instagram at Geronimo Levis. I look up to, starting up a conversation with you. We'll be back next week for another great episode. Until then, let's go ahead and roll initiative. Hey, friendos, one quick last shout out. If you liked the music at the beginning of today's show, that was from my friend Caden Otley. And if you guys want him to make more music for the show, reach out to him on Instagram at Cade Music and just tell him how much you loved his music. And also check out his band, Texture Love, which is really great. They have excellent music on Spotify. So if you're done listening to this, go and listen to some awesome Texture Love music and reach out to at Cade Music on Instagram. Tell him how much you love today's music and that you'd like him to make some more. Thank you for listening to today's show. We really appreciate your support and your patronage. We have a few more announcements to go over. First,
did you ever fall in love with the library as a kid? It was a place where you could experience 1,000 stories without having to buy 1,000 books. That is what Monsters.rent can do for your D&D campaign. You can rent and swap out as many quality miniature monsters and creatures for your D&D party as you could ever want, without having to buy them. You can rescue villagers from a kobold camp, or lead your party through the fighting forest, or many more adventures. We're coming out with new bundles all the time. Just sign up for our subscription to get access to your own personal library of minis. Go to monsters.rent to find out more. That's the website. Monsters, with an S, .rent. Get your library pass to a world of minis today.
we also wanted to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by Stardust and Dragons. I'm going to let one of the cast of Stardust and Dragons, Christian Hatcher, and his crew tell you a little bit more about it.
This August, a new adventure podcast is coming to a platform near you, filled with action,
Shoot one of the two of them. We can't keep taking hits like that.
drama,
Everything that she's been doing, everything she's going to do, finally sets in.
and stardust.
Help! Help! Someone, please!
Find out more about this epic odyssey at stardustanddragons.com, where adventure awaits in the stars.
That's all the announcements we have today. Again, thank you so much for everything you do for us. You make this show possible. Like we said before, we'll be back next week with another great episode, and until then, let's go ahead and roll initiative.